In ancient times, there was a nuclear war, and yet no archaeologist reports on this. Shocking findings in various regions of Europe, of the Earth, not Europe, but the Earth, prove that in ancient times there was a civilization that had nuclear weapons at its disposal, and these became the cause of the destruction. The opinion that humanity is not reaching the present technological and scientific levels for the first time is very widespread in certain circles. The ancient experiments were done once again. The old knowledge was rediscovered. According to the related theories, man has reached the peak of his cultural and technological developments many times, but due to some catastrophe, he has regressed and started again from the beginning. And this is also mentioned by Plato in his work Timaeus, where, according to Solon's visit to Egypt, he describes the conversation he had with the Egyptian high priest, who told him the characteristic phrase, "You Greeks are forever children. You are all young at heart because you do not remember your ancient traditions. You remember only one deluge when there have been many before." End quote. So since ancient times, it's known that there have been many disasters in the course of human history, and that many times civilization has regressed only to later take the uphill path again. It was level, however, what level, however, had previous civilizations reached? Many scholars argue that in the past, man has achieved achievements equal to or even superior to those that we have today. Among them was one of the use of atomic energy. The biblical Sodom and Gomorrah, some claim, are said to have been destroyed by such a cause. Something similar happened in other parts of the world. In the Pacific Islands, ancient walls and ruins of cities were discovered in the jungle, destroyed in a way that only an atomic bomb could justify. Similar findings exist in other regions of the earth. The most recent of these discoveries concern the city in ancient India, whose end was tragic. The radioactive city. High levels of radioactivity were discovered and detected in the area of Rajasthan, India, where work was being done to build a large housing complex. In the same area, a high incidence of cancer and a large number of births of newborns with serious genetic alterations had been observed in previous years. What had happened there, and why was this area privileged with radioactive emissions? Scientific research and archaeological digging have finally provided the answer by excavating an ancient city that shows signs of an atomic disaster that took place there around 8,000 to 12,000 years ago, destroying most of the buildings and killing about 500,000 people. One researcher, in fact, calculates that the atomic bomb that destroyed the ancient city was of a similar size to those that hit Nagasaki and Hiroshima in 1945. In the Mahabharata, the Indian epic, many researchers discovered descriptions reminiscent of modern warfare, tanks, missiles, and atomic bombs. Among the others are large-scale disasters, is very clearly mentioned, the description of which refer to an atomic explosion. The destruction came in a flash that seemed to have all the power of the universe, and then rose in a column of smoke and fire, so great that it shone like 10,000 suns together. It was a giant angel of death that turned the entire race to ashes in an instant. The bodies were burned beyond recognition, hair and nails fell out, pottery broke, and birds turned white. This could be a description of the tragic moments experienced by the residents in Nagasaki and Hiroshima, but this is a description found in the ancient text of the Mahabharata. Now, once this description was just considered allegorical and mythical, but today more and more scientists believe that it is an authentic historical event. A war that still rages? Indian historian Kesari Mohan Ganguly says Indian scriptures are replete with similar description of nuclear disasters. There are also reports of flying war chariots and weapons of destruction which could wipe out entire armies by hurling the soldiers along with their elephants as if they were leaves from trees. And what we today describe as a nuclear mushroom that erupts at the point where an atomic bomb falls is described in ancient Indian texts as a giant umbrella of smoke and fire. Although the official view of history finds it difficult to accept the existence of earlier civilizations that had reached the level of taming atomic energy, many ancient texts, especially many finds, prove that history is different from what most people believe. Archaeologist Francis Taylor, specialized in sacred inscriptions, appointed near the ancient radioactive city of India texts on temples. He revealed them, appealing to the gods to save the faithful from the great flash that destroys everything. It's staggering to accept the possibility that a civilization had developed nuclear technology before our own time, says the British archaeologist, and he adds, yet the radioactive ashes we find today seem to confirm the ancient Indian scriptures describing an atomic war. Whatever destroyed the ancient city in India, however, has an effect to this day, as evidenced by the high concentration of radioactivity. That is why the Indian government blocked off the contaminated area and cancelled the construction of the buildings. The increase in cancers and monstrosities and genetic defects in babies prove that even thousands of years later, a nuclear war can still rage and create new victims. The mass incarnations are because the corresponding conditions have been created again, and those who then chose wrongly and made a choice of destruction now have the opportunity to choose again, this time more wisely. From ancient Atlantis to today, many are even convinced that this technology also existed in ancient Atlantis, and that is the present era. In the present era, many people who lived in a previous life in the second continent, which was destroyed according to an opinion by the raw use of knowledge and technology, are incarnated like atomic energy. This I've translated from a Greek article. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.